By you being authentically you, you have been placed in this world at this point in time for this specific purpose. So by you expressing yourself unapologetically, you are doing the collective a service because there is a reason that you are here. Hey beautiful, welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self-awakening journey. This is your weekly sanctuary for waking up from autopilot and transforming the way you approach life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It is my mission to help you heal unprocessed emotions and release stuck energies by alchemizing your struggle cycles into opportunities for deep self-love, awareness, trust, and connection, to return to your innate essence of being, stepping back into your energy of alignment. Because here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light, embodying all parts that make you, you. So if you are ready to get to the root of cultivating real change, get cozy, grab your journal and maybe favorite crystals, and let's discover our power within together. What is up, beautifuls? Welcome back to another episode of the Naturally Empowered Living podcast. This is your host, Jenna Smith. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new here, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so thankful that you have found your way to this podcast, to this show, and just to our world, to this part of the world. What we talk about here is how you make sense in this crazy world. And no matter where you come from, where you are, what you've been through, what you're going through, you make sense. And we talk energy, we talk emotions, we talk healing and aligning to your truth, your authentic self, finding that authentic self within you. If maybe you have lost her or you've never known her, but you just know that something is off, so you know that your truth is always inside of you. And I am a root cause therapy practitioner, so we really dive into emotions and processing that unprocessed trauma or those unprocessed emotions, that stuck stagnant energy. And I'm a Reiki master, so I have energy healing and alignment and mentorships, and I am an instinctive meditation mentor. So it really is this whole package of helping you live your authentic truth, to step into your energy of alignment. And what I mean by that is to feel those feelings of joy and happiness and peace and presence and clarity and confidence within your life without having to pull for that vice or that coping mechanism, to actually feel what you're going through in those moments. We're not bypassing the anxieties, the stress, the overwhelms. There's no spiritual bypassing either, but we're not pushing things under the rug anymore. We are allowing them to come full surface. And this calling, this work, my life work, is to help bring that acceptance to you, that you make sense. So before we get started into today's episode, I have a little announcement that if you are local to where I live in the world, I am opening July 1st, time sensitive. I am opening availability to have in-person sessions. Oh my gosh, I didn't think that this was going to be in the cards, probably for another year until my youngest started 4K, but it just, stars aligned. You're hearing it here first, I guess, the story behind it all. It was actually Mother's Day this year. I introduced myself to a new business that was opening up in our little town and on our main street, and didn't know who this woman was, but I saw her painting her front door, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've heard, that there was a transition in this business, in this local business. The last business sold and someone new bought it. And that was all I knew. And I was like, oh, let me just introduce myself. And one thing led to another, that same conversation. And here I am leasing space from her a couple days a week to have my practice inside her building. And I am just so blessed, so thankful. Opening July 1st. If you are local to me and just are curious, email me, hello@naturallyempoweredliving.com. Check out my website. What else? Yeah, email me for my availability. It's just like so exciting. So many moving parts. It's been so busy behind the scenes trying to figure out, between insurance and just all the things to make a physical location possible and doable and, legal and like bring everything up to present time. So it's been so amazing and so much has happened the past month. Like I said, this was on my future vision. Like this was in my future. I knew it was. I just didn't realize this was going to be happening so fast and so soon. And it's just been such a blessing. I'm so thankful. So I'm so excited to be offering in-person sessions, root cause therapy sessions, Reiki sessions, and possibly doing some sort of meditation circle in the near future. Oh my gosh, there's just so beautiful. And of course, also my virtual sessions are still going to be available also. So you book in the same spot. Everything is the same. I've been bringing everything up to present time to make it possible to have a physical location, address, and then offer that availability to you. So incredible. I'm so excited to have my first ever, well, it's not my first ever because I've done in-person root cause therapy and Reiki, but just to have this location, and it's just a beautiful new beginning. So yay to that. But okay, so let's jump in. I absolutely loved last week's episode and I had so much fun, recording that episode for you. And based on the feedback that I also received, I want to dive a little deeper into a very brief snippet, like a little blip of that episode that we covered last week when we started talking about awareness and acceptance. So it was towards the middle to the end of the episode. And I was bringing up like that shadowy and those suppressed pieces of us and how we possibly can, shove them under the rug. And we all hold those shadowy pieces of ourselves. But we segued into, on that episode last week, we segued into instant gratification and how, we're not here on this show, we're not here for that instant gratification. Like this is our life's work. And today I really want to open a new tab and dive a little deeper into these shadowy pieces of ourselves that we might not always feel comfortable to express. Or we may unknowingly be suppressing parts of ourselves to possibly be accepted or to fit in. And I want to talk about the importance of expressing and being all parts of you. All parts that make you, you. Even the parts that you feel that you can't be all of you, or you have to stay quiet because you've been told you're too loud in the room, or you can't, be a certain way or feel a certain feeling or cry or whatever that might be you've felt at some point in your life. Not good enough or not accepted, or some behavior wasn't accepted, so you've suppressed it. Or you've been corrected too many times or talked over too many times, or have felt that your opinions or viewpoints just don't matter. But your voice matters. Your truth matters. You matter. And this is speaking for the collective. Like you matter for the betterment of humanity. Seriously. By you being authentically you, you have been placed in this world at this point in time for this specific purpose. So by you expressing yourself unapologetically, you are doing the collective a service because there is a reason that you are here. And by us suppressing pieces of ourselves or not fully stepping into our purpose or not feeling that we can be all of ourselves, it's dimming a light in this world. So let's dive into what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? So kudos to Danny from That Witch podcast. I was listening to an episode of hers on polarities and dualities within the signs of astrology. So it was an episode completely based on the polarities of, each sign. There's 12 signs in the zodiac, and each sign has the polar, sign. So like Scorpio's polar is Taurus, and etc. So I was listening to this episode, and I know that I talk about this concept a lot of being authentically you and coming back home to yourself and speaking your truth. Like seriously, last week's episode, it was a good indicator of that, right? So if you haven't listened to last week's episode, go listen to episode 142. It could be after this episode. You don't have to pause me and come back here. But the context that I heard Danny talking about this polarity and duality as a co-creative collaboration, like as this co-creative collaborative way, I just want to shine some light here, bringing this concept full circle. And I know that she was talking about, the polarities and dualities of the signs in astrology, but this is where I'm going to bring this full circle, because how she was just talking about that concept, let's dissect this a bit. So What I mean when I say, stepping into your truth or being confident in your voice, to not stay quiet, possibly because you fear the polarizing or opinionated backlash that you may get. Like, let that sink in for a minute. Does that land for you? Do you sometimes not speak your truth or not say something that you're feeling? Of course, there's the discernment of okay, let's be respectful here. But there's also that other piece of speaking your truth, standing up for yourself, setting a boundary. Or maybe just having an opinion about something, but you fear that it's going to be so polarizing, or you're going to get so much opinionated backlash from other people that you never say it to begin with. You're scared of what other people might think or say by you speaking up. So you stay quiet. Or maybe you've been told to be quiet and you listened. But let me tell you something. We need that polarity. We need that polarity within ourselves. We are all uniquely individual. We are all uniquely ourselves in this human experience. We need that polarity for the duality of the harmony and balance for the collective. How does that land for you? We need a polarity for the duality of the harmony and the balance of the collective. Now, of course, this is all within our free will, okay? What we do with that polarizing viewpoint, or what we do with that opinionated person that has a completely different viewpoint than we do, right? It's within our free will of how we respond and how we act because of it. But this is where the more heart-centered humans can rise up. The more heart-centered humans can rise up, and we can accept that we have polarizing topics or that we have polarizing viewpoints, that we are different from each other. We are uniquely ourselves. And that could bring the duality of the collective. It could bring the harmony and the balance for the collective. So the heart-centered people rise up. We're going to start to teeter on that scale where it's no longer cool to bully or shame or belittle or to have violence if we want to zoom way out in this world. Where the norm is going to be to have an open conversation, to be able to share differing viewpoints, whatever it is, still coming from a space of love. So this is a universal theme just being spoken in a different way. How often do I say on this show, down to the core, there are so many parallel truths. I don't care what religion that you want to speak on. I don't care what spiritual modality or theme that you want to speak on. Down to the core, there are so many parallel truths, even though there's so many differing religions, or I'm just using religion as an example, because I know that's a very polarizing topic. You can plug in different terminology or explain things in a different way, but the core principles, the universal truths are the same. And that universal truth here is love. What is that quote? Me and my cliche quotes. Love is the language of the universe. Yes. And I loved that Danny described this on her show because as a quick little intro before she jumped into the astrology piece, but she shared it as a universal theme, needing polarity to bring forth duality. And I was just oh my gosh, I love this. Because now I could bring this to my audience and speak in terms of being your authentic self. Bring that polarizing piece of you that is different from the person next door to you, that's different from your spouse, that's different from your kids. Because together we need duality. It brings forth the collective. It brings forth the oneness. So let's go even further with this. I love to bring, the science and the woo, bring it together. So within everything in this world, within this universe, everything that exists down to the very molecules that we're made up of, we are all made up of the same thing. Atoms. Okay, and then atoms make up the matter, and then we kind of get bigger and bigger from there. But the smallest thing, the atom, are also composed of a positive and a negative. Think about that for a second. There's polarity in everything. So when do we make it cool to insert our free will to cause harm and hatred and divide in the process of this polarity? Going back to the natural, innate, universal truth of the universe, love, harmony, duality. We can still be one while having differences. Because duality is two completely opposite things existing simultaneously to the point where we cannot exist one without the other. And what is polar? What's polarity? Opposites. I want to bring kind of another picture for you. We just, brought in the science of the atom and the positive and the negative. Now picture an infinity sign. That sideways 8, right? I want to introduce a sign or a concept to you I learned it in my instinctive meditation certification program, and it's called syzygy. Never heard of it before. It's not synergy, it's syzygy. And I know that we've talked about this before on the show, but the same concept here. Syzygy, imagine, just picture, draw it with your fingers, draw this infinity sign going back and forth and back and forth. Syzygy is to join together, to bring opposites into alignment, to create a union of these opposites. So syzygy, again, drawing that infinity sign, it is the full seamless flow of energy and awareness that leads to integration and wholeness in being. It never ends. So what are some examples here? Solitude on one end of that infinity sign, communion on the other. Individuality, collective. Wildness, serenity. Strong, soft. Active, rest. Yin, yang. Like you need one to have the other. And especially, I guess, in like modern society, like active, rest, right? Day, night. So with all that I just rattled off here, I invite you to take a minute or 5 or 10 or however long after this episode and just apply these themes directly to your life. Think about how you can step into your authentic truth. We need your authenticity. Or even broader, how you can apply these themes or see these themes in the world right now or society, and how the act of our free will may potentially be causing unnecessary divide. This isn't to be like one-sided, like one side is better than the other. I just invite you to do those couple things just to bring that awareness into everything that we've chatted about thus far. So to continue on with just like this thought of everything going on in the world presently, and I don't care when you listen to this episode. It could be right now in 2025, and I'm sure if you listen to this in 5 years, in 2030, there's still going to be the polarity. There's still going to be some sort of divide. I pray there's not. But I just invite you to open your mind and yourself up to this process of duality, true duality, that two things can exist. Everything, down to its core, starts rooted in love. We are all one. And we can exist at the same time. Because the true goal at the end of the day is collaboration, unity, learning from one another in order to harmonize and bring balance. And also to bring full circle from the beginning of this episode in staying true to who you are, because we need you in this world, your full authentic expression, because you are benefiting the collective by being you. So when we stop blocking and pushing down our hard feelings, our emotions, when we stop silencing our voice in fear because we fear it's going to bring backlash, when we stand up for ourselves, set those boundaries, protect our energy, allow our authentic expression to come forth, feelings of joy and peace and ease, it's a natural byproduct because you're making space for it. You're aligning your energy to your soul, and that energy ripples. It's a ripple effect. It radiates out when we are leading from love and peace and joy and bliss and ease. It radiates out. And that's where bringing back that scale concept, we'll start to teeter. We'll start to teeter and we'll have love and peace and joy and bliss be that innate byproduct and that feeling of the collective. We're there. We're waking up. And to live in full harmony and love as a collective, we do still have to have polarity. Again, to bring forth that duality to create the balance and the harmony. Like, oh, it's just so good. So good. And I would love to hear how this episode landed with you. I would love to hear what, concept landed a little harder or smoother or like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Because I've talked about this concept so many times on this show, being true to you, being all of you. Not suppressing anymore, not pushing down those shadows, not silencing yourself. I've talked about this how many times? But what piece landed for you today? The concept of the polarity and duality, the concept of the infinity symbol, that syzygy within bringing a union of opposites, like becoming and being, breathing in, breathing out, emptying, filling, condensing, expanding, energetic, exhausted, wild, serene. Everything has. And what's that other, it's a physics concept. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Yes, right? Like that just popped in my head right now. So you know the drill. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Naturally Empowered Living or email me hello@naturallyempoweredliving.com. I would love to hear how this landed with you. I love to hear from you regardless what you want to hear on the show. You know that you could submit that form to tell me what you want to hear on the show. You could schedule a free clarity call with me to get a one-on-one heart-to-heart conversation. And if you're struggling, you want to step into your authentic truth expression, but you feel that self-sabotaging cycle and those riddling habits are just creeping in and you don't know where to begin, I invite you to explore root cause therapy. I will link everything in the show notes below, as well as that episode from That Witch podcast talking about the applicable astrology of polarities and duality. It was a great episode. Just so, so good. And I hope that this episode brought you some insight into your self-awakening, my friend. And until next week, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and be unapologetic in who you are. Sending my love and so much light.
Did you find this episode free or empowering? Please read my review. Tickle, boop.
Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. If this episode brought you closer to stepping into your energy of alignment, I'd love for you to leave a written review and share how this show has supported your journey. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps others find the space of transformation. And sharing it with someone who might need it spreads the ripple of healing even further. Be sure to check the show notes for ways to connect with me and explore personalized healing sessions and mentorships to deepen your self-awakening journey. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.